Are Daemon Princes overcosted? In this series, I'm going to teach you how to use each Chaos Space Marine unit more effectively. So, Daemon Princes currently are the on foot version is around 165 points, and the winged version is about 180, I believe. Okay, currently, so it's a fair chunk of points. Do I include one currently? No, I do not. Have I included one before? Yes, I have. I love the models. I love everything about them. I love the idea of them, but they just don't seem to work for me in competitive lists. So we'll have a look at the stats. So we'll start with the on foot Daemon Prince. So movement 8, toughness 10, 2+, 4+ in run, 10 wounds, 6+ leadership, and 3 OC. Decent, nothing spectacular, but decent. It's got a ranged weapon, Infernal Cannon, 24-inch range, 3 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 5, -1 AP, and 2 damage. Okay, it's okay, it's decent, nothing amazing, but chip away at something. His combat weapon, he's got the Hull Forged weapon. You can either strike with it or sweep with it. Generally speaking, you are always going to want to strike with it, unless it's against something with a very poor save. And the reason for that is on the sweep it has no AP whatsoever, which is a massive letdown. I feel like that should be 1 AP, and maybe the strike should be 3 AP. I don't know, maybe it's got to have at least 1 AP, because unless you're fighting against chaff with like a 5+ save, you're not really going to be doing much damage. Renegade Raiders, you get an extra AP, so yeah, you do get that AP1, but if you're hitting into Space Marines or something, yeah, you get 14 attacks. You're hitting on 2s, wounded on 3s, and then they get a 3+ save. Renegade Raiders get a 4+ save, and it's only damage 1. Okay, so you're probably going to be lucky to take out 5 Marines. With the strike, you get 6 attacks, hitting on 2s again. You'll be wounding on 2s against Marines with strength 8, and then your AP -2 will put them on a 5+ save. It does 3 damage, so you're probably going to be killing 4 maybe on average. Okay, if you roll well, you're going to be killing the squad. But for me, Daemon Prince should be just taking out a squad, no problems. You do get to do your daemonic allegiance, so you can choose to be Khorne, Tzeentch. Well, you have to choose to be Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, or Slaanesh. I'd love to see Undivided, but it's probably not going to happen. So Khorne, add 2 to the strength. Tzeentch, add 3 to the attacks. Nurgle, add 1 to this model's toughness. Slaanesh, add 2 to the movement. Before we get into that, we're going to look at this over here. So the Daemon Prince on foot, anything within 6 inches, friendly models get the benefit of cover. So it's okay. It's okay. Not amazing, but it's okay. What is decent though is every time it shoots or fights, you get to reroll 1 hit and 1 wound roll, which is pretty nice, pretty decent. And especially with you know, maybe not taking out a Space Marine each time, maybe that statistical 1 die that you're gonna fail, you're gonna get the 1 on your hit, and you're gonna get the 1 on the wound. You can reroll both of them, so that'll bring it back up to, should be at least putting 6 wounds, statistically 6 wounds onto the squad of 5 Marines. Okay, and then I've got a 5+ save, so they're going to should save 2 of them, so like say 4. Okay, but anyway, that's pretty good. It could be better, could be worse. So these now, Tzeentch, add 3 attacks to your range weapon. I'm not going to use that. That's not what I want my Daemon Prince to be doing, shooting things. I want it to be in close combat, killing units. Add 1 to the toughness is interesting. So anything that's strength 10 will now be wounding on 5s. Okay, so there are a fair few profiles that have strength 10, so that's fairly useful. +2 to the speed is pretty good because you can move 10 inches. That's probably what I'd go for a Nurgle Slaanesh. Khorne is useful and interesting. So add 2 to the strength of your melee profile. Okay. So if you're doing the sweep, brings up to strength 8. You might think, oh yeah, that's useful. Wounds Marines on 2s. But if you're hitting Marines and you give them a 3+ save, it's not that useful. And it's only 1 damage. So, you like I say, you don't want to be hitting anything other than chaff. And most chaff is not toughness 4, it's toughness 3. And even so, you'll take the 3 up if they are toughness 4. And then the strike, it's going to put it up to strength 10. That is useful because a lot of tanks, a lot of vehicles are toughness 10. So instead of wounding them on 5s, you're going to be wounding them on 4s. So that's pretty nice. And Terminators, you're going to be wounding on 2s rather than on 3s. So that is quite nice, the extra strength, but only really for the strike. So for me, this model at the moment isn't good enough for the points to warrant putting it in. Even a unit possessed, I'd probably expect to do a bit more damage because of the volume of attacks that can get into certain targets. I probably wouldn't be putting this into a tank or anything heavy because it's just not going to do enough damage. It's probably going to do best into enemy characters or enemy monsters maybe that are not toughness 10 unless you're going for Khorne. Then that brings us on to the winged version. So the baseline stats are similar, except from it's got movement 12 instead of 8, which is nice, but then toughness 9, which is not so nice. Same weapons, exactly the same issues with the weapons, and then you get the same demonic allegiance. Okay, before we get into that again, we're going to go on to this. So the abilities are different. So the first one I'm going to look at is Flying Horror. So every time you make a normal or advanced move and you fly over something, it takes a battle shock. That, it's pretty much useless really. But Demonic Destruction, this is nice. Every time you charge, okay, a unit's engagement range, you're going to have at least 1 unit in engagement range if you've made a charge. You are going to roll 1d6 for each of its remaining wounds. If you go in at full strength, that's 10 dice. Every 4+, you're going to get a mortal wound to a maximum of 6. So it's very good, that is. So statistically, you're probably going to be doing 5 mortal wounds on the charge, and then if that's into a squad of Space Marines, you're going to finish the rest off with the strike. So looking at the allegiances, so in this case, the Slaneshi is very good because you're now movement 14, which is extremely fast. You can get it to where you want it to go, so that is nice. Nurgle, you can put it back up to toughness 10, which means strength 10 stuff won't be wounded on 3s, which is quite nice. Zeech, again, I probably would not use. And then Khorne, same thing again. It's nice, but I'd probably go for one of these. Maybe Slaneshi, so I can just move it around, zip it around, take out the targets that I want. But then there's alternatives that can do that. So for me, again, the Daemon Prince winged version is probably a no-go, especially at 180 points. There is an enhancement in Renegade Raiders that I've considered using. The one where you get to reroll, full reroll hits, full reroll wounds if you are within 12 of the enemy's deployment, which is probably going to be the whole game. So if you drop it anywhere near your deployment, deep strike it in, then that can be very nasty because it's rerolling all hits, rerolling all wounds. But again, it just doesn't have a scary enough profile to warrant an inclusion in my list for me. I've toyed with the idea, but yeah, for me, both winged version and the on foot version just don't cut it for me. If you've had any success with Daemon Princes, if you run a Daemon Prince regularly, please let me know in the comments. Let me know how you use it, or if you think I'm wrong, let me know.